Have you ever trusted your best friend so completely that it was unimaginable they could betray you? One man lived in what seemed like the perfect life until the truth was exposed. His best friend had secretly stolen the girlfriend he loved, and this wasn't the only shock. The story begins when he uncovers the betrayal, but it ends with more questions than answers. Before continuing the story, tell me which city you're watching from. I want to know how far this video has come. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so I can send you exciting stories like this every day. My 33 male best friend, 3 male and girlfriend, 26 female discarded me to be together. Just found out about this subreddit. So I thought I'd share my story here. Strap in for a long post if you're ready. Any info that may elicit questions on how I knew it was, because either friends or family filled me in after D-Day. My best friend is someone who I have known since high school. We were in the same homeroom and were inseparable. After that, basically brothers from another mother, the whole spiel. We kept zero secrets and are an open book to one another. Our dating lives, relationships, dirty laundry, etc. You name it. He knew everything about me and I knew everything about him. Even though he may be my best friend, I would never introduce any women. I know I'm dating him because his dating life has been a complete disaster. He has had 4 exes, 2 of which cheated on him. One was sleeping with multiple men. The second one was 2-timing with another man for a year. He cheated on his 3rd girlfriend and dumped her to be with his 4th girlfriend. He also hits up prostitutes on a regular basis. His mother is also wealthy, and so he has never had to work his entire life. His mom just sends him money. Meanwhile, I was a virgin and never had any contact with any women until this relationship. I met my significant other through a dating app back on January 13th, 2019. From the first date to the end of 2020, things were generally going well. We traveled a lot and also hung out plenty of time with my best friend and his significant other, whom they had been together with for around 4 years at the time. When the pandemic hit, my best friend's significant other broke up with him and moved back to China. So during this time, it pretty much became just us 3 hanging out all the time. We would play video games, watch movies, and just hang out together at our homes. When the restaurants started opening up, we would go out to eat, and sometimes he would also happen to take my girlfriend out to grab some dinner, which at first I didn't think anything of because she lived close by to the places he would go eat at. I thought nothing of it, and the outings for them became more and more frequent. I felt off as she came home later and later, but I didn't question it because he was my best friend of 20 years, and she would always send me pictures of the food and tell me that she was grabbing dinner with him. In January of 2021, I started helping out my girlfriend's family to renovate a new house they just got during this time. I had already returned to work for 2 days a week. The remainder of the 5 days I would go help renovate the house. By the end of March, I had broken my wrist tossing out wood planks. I underwent wrist surgery, and then her birthday came up on April 29th. I had planned a trip for her that involved the 29th and 30th on the 30th as we were coming back home. My best friend wanted to give her a birthday cake as well and waited for us to come back. He had also gifted her a custom engraved iPad for her birthday, in which she was ecstatic over May week 1 a week later. She calls me up to break up with me. Reason being, she didn't see a future with me because I didn't make enough money. She said that I was lazy and had to find a second job, and I didn't have the luxury of playing games all day compared to my best friend who doesn't have to work because he's rich. I was also not the first one to wish her a happy birthday. At 12 a.m., I was 2 minutes late. I asked her who it was that had wished her a happy birthday earlier than me, and she replied with, "You don't need to know." I've come to learn that it was my best friend. Between week 2 and week 3, a couple of weeks after the breakup, I called up my best friend of 20 years to confide in him that I had broken up with her. For this, I had never shared any of my issues with my girlfriend with him. He had no idea that I was suffering and going through this pain. Apparently, he had already invited her out for dinner a few days earlier and told me he had no idea we broke up, and that she didn't mention anything about me when they were together. He told me to never hesitate to reach out and that he was already there for me. I took him up on it and either hung out or called him up to talk every day for at least 2 hours per phone call. In May, week 3, she called me up to get back together with me. I agreed to get back together. Everything seemed to be going well for the next few weeks. We had talks of saving money to get a place to move in together next year. We had also planned a 3-day vacation trip together with a bunch of friends, which included my best friend. I told my best friend about it, and he gave me advice saying, you need to reconsider moving in together with her because she broke up with you when you broke your wrist, and that's a huge red flag. She put you through hell all this time. She's never going to change, and can you truly envision the rest of your life with her? His advice was sound and reasonable, and I accepted it without hesitation. In May, week 4, to June, week 3, during this time, I started going to therapy for my broken wrist post-surgery, and there were a couple of cute women there that I had casually told my best friend about. After the way my significant other had initially broken up with me, along with the previous issues throughout the years, I started wavering a bit. So I told my best friend about having doubts on maintaining this relationship and if I should break up with her. Maybe I could even ask out one of these ladies. He told me that it was a terrible decision and to just keep my significant other in the dark. He said, just ask out the women from therapy, and if things work out with them, then your significant other can be a backup until you can transition and promote them into the main girlfriend position. I was extremely distraught at this thought, cried for a couple of days, and in the end, I didn't go through with it, seeing as how it would devastate my girlfriend to waste her time. I would hate myself for life. In June, week 3, I chose to work on this relationship and work on myself instead. So I delved into online articles on relationship advice. I had many tabs open with different articles, some titled, When to Break Up, How do you know if she's worth sticking around for, and other generally sensitive topics. When my significant other came over, she saw the open tabs and started questioning me. We got into a fight and she accused me of having someone else that I liked. She told me that someone else also asked her out at one point during our relationship, and she turned him down because she was in a committed relationship with me. She texted my best friend that she was no longer going to the group outing that we had originally planned. I told her that I was having doubts but wanted to work things out with her and try my best, as we had built something for the last 3 years, and I truly cared for her. I told her I was in it for the long haul. We made up and decided to go on that trip. In June, week 4, my best friend had gotten a new apartment and was busy buying furniture and setting up equipment. He had asked me over to help set up. He had gotten a couple of televisions and a table and bed from IKEA that I helped him put together. This was supposed to be his new bachelor pad, as he had decided to delve back into the dating scene and get out of the single life. He had also really started to work out and do cardio to lose weight, and he did a pretty dang good job of it. After I finished helping him put together the bed, he thanked me. Nah, no problem. You've been there for me every step of the way through this darkest of time in my life, and I would do the same for you. This is nothing. He also reassured me that he never told her anything during the times they hang out. June 30th. This would be the last time I would be able to reach him through phone calls or text. The last time he picked up my call was earlier that day. I tried calling him later that night and texting him, and from that point forth, he dropped off the face of the earth. He would come to reveal that he was having dinner with her that night and didn't want to make things awkward for her by picking up my phone call. This would also be the first time that I know of that she had not told me they were going out for dinner, aside from the time when we broke up within the 3-week break in between. On July 9th, the next time I saw or made contact with him wouldn't be until the trip. He was a driver, as he had the car. Before then, whenever the 3 of us hung out, I would always sit up front with him while my significant other sat in the back seat. But this time, she said it was a long trip and she gets car sick, so she sat at the front the entire time. During the vacation, my best friend paid for everyone. All the tickets, our meals, and my girlfriend would be together with him the entire time, running off to play the arcades, gamble, and be out of sight. Meanwhile, I was stuck in the back hanging out with my other friends. One of my friends revealed to me that they were gossiping amongst each other and taking pictures of them together, asking each other whose girlfriend that was during the 3-day trip. I also didn't have any sex with my girlfriend. During the ride back, after everyone was dropped off home, I was the last one in the car with him. He also told me that he had gone to the same place last week with an ex-girlfriend of his, and that is why he knew what places to eat at and which spots were fun. We just talked for a bit, and I asked him why he stopped picking up, and he said he was busy setting up the internet and finishing up the final touches to his apartment. I would soon find out that this trip he booked for the same place was originally intended for my girlfriend, so that she would not miss out on the vacation. But I threw a wrench in his plans when I had made up with her. End of July and July 25th, my birthday was here, and the week before that, things were getting cold and distant with my girlfriend. She would take hours to respond to texts, sometimes not even texting back at all, which she had never done before. She came to stay over the night before my birthday so we could go celebrate together the following day. I waited until 12:05 a.m. before she mumbled nonchalantly to me, "Happy birthday." I tried to have sex with her, which she was brushing me off, also never happened before, but we finally ended up having sex. This would be our last intimate moment together. The actual birthday was a disaster. She was out of it completely. Took me to eat, got me a present, but left halfway through the day, saying she was busy and had work to complete. It would be the last time I ever saw her in person. Combined with the recent trip, I just began to feel terrible. And by the following week, I was pretty much about to call it quits. Week of July 30th. These next few days after my birthday were just me going through the motions of random texting. I FaceTimed her at night with no real emotions. On Friday, July 30th, I just stopped texting her, and she also didn't text me until 5 p.m. after work ended. I finally called her up, and we got into an argument over the phone. We never explicitly stated we were going to break up, but admittedly, we ended on a bad note, as I had truly been fed up with her attitude. I started saying pretty angry things and asked her why she never got me a birthday card or a birthday cake. Her response was that she got me a card but didn't know what to write on it because she was scared that I would leave her, and did not get me a birthday cake because she was afraid that this would be the last time I made a wish in front of her. I told her that I didn't give a crap about her, and she hung up on me. Mid-August, I didn't contact her at all for the following 2 weeks until she texted me to tell me her father was coming over to my place to drop off my belongings and for me to return hers. The dad didn't even know what was going on and asked me to work things out with her. He told me he would love to see us reconcile and get back together, and told me to keep in touch. August 28th, D-Day. From the vacation until this day, 6 weeks total after the trip, 2 months if you include the last time I spoke to my best friend aside from the trip. I kept trying to reach out to him, but he never picked up any of my calls or answered my texts. This day during work, one of my other close friends that we all hang out with calls me and says my best friend called him and told him my significant other had moved in together with him and are now officially dating. Apparently, my best friend had called him up that morning to tell him the news and to keep it a secret from me. Instead, this other friend told him that as soon as he hung up, he would call me to tell me the truth, which he did just that. I was absolutely gutted. That same night when my best friend finally reached out to me, he called me to tell me everything. Mind you, I'm in a complete state of shock. So when I'm answering incoherently and asking stupid questions. Hey, how you been if you haven't already realized it by now? I'm dating my girlfriend's name. It just happened. I had no choice. I was feeling suicidal. If I didn't see her, just being with her made me happy. She doesn't want to see you or speak to you. I'll always have your best interest at heart. She was terrible for you, but perfect for me. I know when her birthday was, he said he just wanted to see her happy, and it didn't mean any more than that. I would find out that he did months of research, snooping in her social media, and stalking her Facebook feeds to find out the relevant information. I asked him when and what made him ask her out to dinner dates. He told me it was because he saw that we were already having issues. She was mistreating you and being very disrespectful towards you, and that he liked her. So he saw this opening that he had to take a chance on it and shoot his shot, and that he was absolutely floored. She agreed to go out with him. I asked him why he never asked me to go along with him when they were going one-on-one dinner dates, driving her around fancy restaurants with all expenses paid. He tells me I didn't want to bother you. You were busy. I didn't consider those dates. I just wanted to see her because I would feel suicidal if I didn't see her. Only being close to her made me alive and happy. Don't worry until you two broke up. I never laid my hands on her, never touched her. I wouldn't do that to you. I said, you do know that is emotional cheating, right? You two have been cheating on me, and his response, if that's the way you see it, then I'm sorry. I asked him if given the chance to redo this whole situation, would he readily throw me under the bus and pull this stunt again? He said absolutely 10 out of 10. She's my soulmate and that he'd be shocked if I don't marry her. She's a terrible match with you, but she's perfect with me. I literally kept no secrets about all her red flags to him. His response was, I feel like you made many mistakes and caused these issues to spiral out of control. I can handle her. I actually like these red flags. It makes things more exciting. I told him that she was willing to cheat on me and that she would cheat on him in the future as well, and he said that's totally a possibility. It's a risk I'm willing to take. I'm willing to give my girlfriends a one-time pass for cheating. I asked him why he would do this to me and that he made my life miserable. He had 4 exes and the first 2 cheated on him multiple times, and he cheated on his 3rd girlfriend and dumped her to be with his 4th girlfriend. So I asked him, you've experienced the pain of being cheated on. Why would you do this to me? His response was, I didn't think it would be that bad. Give it some time, you'll get over it. Weren't you going to ask out that therapy girl? You're still young, there's plenty of fish out in the sea. We are the same age. It asked him, how was the sound? And he responded with, it's all right, you can find better out there. I asked him how it didn't bother him or didn't he think of me when he's having sex with her. He says when you have sex with enough women, you don't think about that stuff. He has also had sex with hundreds of prostitutes. I told him that we never broke up and that we only got into an argument on July 30th. He tells me that he had no idea and that she called him to see him on August 1st, 2 days after our fight, and she was all over me. That was when I knew that you were over. He says this last month, she's been living with me and staying over pretty much 70% of the time. She's my living girlfriend now. During this time, a few days before this phone call, my mom, who was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer around 5 years back, was told to stop taking the medications because they were no longer working and she was too weak to receive further treatment. So she's basically on hospice care. I told my friend if he wanted to visit her one last time because I didn't know whether she'd be around after another year or not. He said he'd love to, but he can't. My last question to him was, am I your best friend? He replies with, of course, it's not even close. You helped me out during my darkest times, and I'll always remember that. I told him, you weren't there for me during my darkest times. You were nowhere to be found, and now I find out instead you were the perpetrator all along. He said, I'm sorry you feel that way. We had the phone call by him telling me that he's going to lay low for 6 to 12 months and that he won't be hanging out with me during this time. He tells me not to listen to what any of my peers and family say about cutting him off, and that he'll always be friends with me and that he cares deeply about me. He told me this entire time of no contact, he was actually really worried about me and wanted to check up on me all this time. But he was really busy and that tonight was the first time he had time to talk to me. For our final words, he said to only contact him if it pertains to separating and closing your joint accounts and bills that you still share with my girlfriend and mine. If it doesn't relate to that issue, don't reach out to me. Basically, if I want to contact my girlfriend at all, I have to go through him first. I have also come to realize my girlfriend has blocked me from every social media, phone, etc., and she could not be reached for me to get any sense of closure. I have since sent her 2 emails to talk and gain closure, to tell her how much I hurt her and pushed her away, that my inability and coldness drove her to seek the warmth and comfort of my best friend, that I was truly sorry for everything, and that if she wanted to move on and date him, I would give him my blessings. All I ask is for her to have one final conversation with me for closure, for our last 3 years together to mean something, instead of the way it ended in complete ghosting. I have also contacted her father, who said he would talk to me after talking to her, but he has never reached out since. I'm absolutely gutted and devastated. I've not only lost my significant other that I had at one point considered proposing to and starting a family with, but I've also lost my closest friend, with whom I have shared more than half of my lifetime and half of my memories. Losing my girlfriend of 3 years was bad enough, but losing my best friend through this treachery, I'm in shambles. I see them living large, going on vacations, and having the time of their lives on social media. Meanwhile, I'm here losing the two of the closest people in my life, aside from my family, and soon to my mother as well. I get nightmares of them laughing and smiling at each other while having sex on the bed I helped put together. It haunts me and I get sleepless nights over it. I get at random pangs in my chest and it keeps me wide awake. I just want to wake up from all of this to find out that none of this is real. I just don't understand how he could destroy my relationship so badly. This is my first ever relationship and he just had to steal my first woman. I'm so sorry you had to experience this, OP. This is quite traumatic, and it's natural for you to have questions. There's no excuse for ex-friend's behavior. It makes you wonder if he ever really was your friend, and if he was, when it started to change. We often don't see how one-sided a relationship really is until time passes. He seems like he saw how happy the two of you had been, how she made you happy, and he became jealous of that and wanted it for his own. It goes to show you that you can have all the money in the world, but still be unhappy. Update: I've done extensive research, and my ex-best friend is a sociopath, narcissist to a dome, and my ex-girlfriend is a narcissist. I know these terms have been getting thrown around a lot these days, but that's usually the case with cheaters like these two. They hit just about every bullet point that coincides with the dark triad of psychopathy and narcissism and Machiavellianism. Basically, I couldn't thank my lucky stars enough, and I'm absolutely blessed that things unfolded in such spectacular fashion. They excised themselves from my life. They're both dead to me, and I want absolutely nothing to do with them ever again now. For the juicy part, first off, apologies to the late update, almost a year later. But the reason for that is because those two betrayers are so irrelevant to me now that I just couldn't really be bothered to write up this short novel. I preface that because the rabbit hole goes deep. It's crazy, literally and figuratively, but with that being said, if you're in for a ride, strap in, and I highly recommend you to brush up on the details of my previous post before diving into this one. We have to set the stage first with some names. Snake ex-best friend, four known exes, call them ABCD, my ex-girlfriend. E, but let's make it simple and just keep it my ex-girlfriend. True, bro, the one that reported the cheating to me. He's the mutual best friend. We both have or Snake had, picking off from where I left off, August 28th, 2021 D-Day. September 2nd, I get back on the dating apps December 6th. I run into Snake's ex-girlfriend, Samantha, and we match. I haven't seen her since about back in 2016. Quick backstory, I've only met Samantha once, but I remember her face. Snake met this woman on the dating apps and started dating her for a few months before moving on to Sophia. Knew Sophia from a mutual friend gathering, and I was actually interested in dating her. But Snake took over instead and started dating her, even though he knew I was interested. Mind you, during this time, he was still dating Samantha, so he was two-timing for about a month before breaking up with Samantha and started officially dating Sophia. During all these years, Samantha never truly let go of Snake. She has never dated anyone else since and was still madly in love with Snake and became the stalker type. Always calling him, asking to meet up, and he felt bad. So he would take her out to dinner and trips periodically. Snake would always confide in me how she's constantly reaching out to him. I told him I needed to stop seeing her and cut all ties with her because he is essentially wasting her time and stringing her along. Backstory. On December 6th, I matched with her and started talking to her, saying, "Hi, it's been a long time," and she responds with, "Have you heard from Snake? What's he been up to?" I immediately think, oh, the crazy ex is here, here we go. But I decided this woman has a right to know how much of an irredeemable piece of crap he is and for her to wake up and move on. So I arranged a meetup at a restaurant the following day, December 7th. I was nervous as hell, as I had no idea what to expect or how to even begin. But before I dropped my bombs to her, we exchanged some brief pleasantries first before I asked her a few questions. When did you two break up? Like almost a month ago. Where was the last trip you two went on? Back in early July. Conclusion, Snake never broke up with Samantha. He was dating both Samantha and Sophia for the last 4 to 5 years. Sophia was a friend of True Bro, so we always hung out with Sophia. Samantha was the bygone ex from 4 years ago that was dropped in favor of Sophia, except never dropped. Apparently, Snake had been living together in an apartment with Samantha all these years. He would spend a few days at Samantha's or their place, and then a few days at Sophia's place. Samantha had always asked about hanging out with True Bro and me since she hasn't seen us in so many years. Snake had a divide and conquer strategy set up. He would hang out with his college buddies with Samantha, and when it comes to Sophia, he would hang out with us. So about a couple of months ago, Snake broke up with Samantha, moved out to a new apartment so he could move in with my ex-girlfriend, but his name is still on the lease with Samantha, and he still had keys to the place. So he still periodically comes and goes as he pleases. Snake took Samantha on a 2 to 3 day trip to the exact same place our group vacation was headed to a week prior. Turns out Snake likes to do multiple repeat trips with all his women on back-to-back weekends. He took Samantha, Sophia, and my ex-girlfriend to the same place, like Disney World or Universal Studios. After we compared notes and pointed out every discrepancy and lie, we parted ways. On December 8th, Snake shows up unannounced to Samantha's apartment. Samantha had, the night before, tossed out all the remaining belongings Snake had left. Snake is livid and calls up True Bro to spin some lies about him clearing things up with Samantha and that they're still in a loving friendship. Sure, she changes the locks and gets Snake to remove his name from the lease. Mid-December, Samantha and I decided to visit Snake's dad to report to him what atrocities his son has committed. We both hadn't seen his father in years, and it just so happens she knows his address. So we take a shot in the dark and just show up unannounced. The father was ecstatic to see both of us. He immediately asked Samantha, "How's the relationship going? When are you two getting married?" As towards me, "Hey, I haven't seen you in so long. I missed you. How have you been?" Basically, we told him everything his son had done, that not only was he not marrying Samantha, but in fact, it's over between them, and he has stolen my girlfriend and currently lives together with her. Needless to say, the father was visibly distraught and devastated. Discoveries and truths uncovered. Snake is not rich at all. His dad is in his mid-70s, retired, and is sending his son $1,000 a month from his own retirement and Social Security benefits to help pay for the rent. But the apartment was Samantha's, which is around $3,500 a month. That's because Snake has never been employed in his life. We thought he was a trust fund baby, except he's just a lazy sack of garbage. Samantha knows Snake does nothing but play video games 24/7, so she is the one paying for the entire rent. Basically, Snake had been using his father's money to wine and dine my ex-girlfriend. Snake's mom is not wealthy. She does all right, but most likely sends him some money as well. Snake has about 10 credit cards that he's maxed out, is in $100,000 debt, and is basically a massive fraud and loser. Snake has graduated from a prestigious Ivy League school with an advanced degree, but has never had a job after that, saying that these positions are beneath him and not enough to pay. He wants the best of the best, a top 1 percentile salary, or he's not working and wasting his time. He has never had a job since graduating back in 2017. His own father said, "I feel I failed as a father. I raised the biggest failure in the family lineage. I never should have come to America. I never should have gotten married and had this kid. He's an utter disgrace to the family name." Samantha also asked me for my ex-girlfriend's contact info because she thinks my ex-girlfriend got tricked and doesn't want her to become a victim and go through what she did. So I gave her ex-girlfriend's info, and she forwarded ex-girlfriend the following information: lease, the screenshots of the texts and phone logs of Snakes blowing up Samantha's phone in the middle of the night and leaving texts saying how he wants to get back together with her. Some highlights include Snake telling Samantha, "I hope to live in a mansion in the future where A, B, Samantha, Sophia, and E could live together under one roof and get along." This man was trying to amass a harem and wanted to add my ex-girlfriend to the collection. Instead of thanking Samantha, my ex-girlfriend calls her up to badmouth me, telling her to stop hanging out with me and that I'm a bad person. Apparently, Snake told my ex-girlfriend that he still had to periodically check on Samantha to make sure she was going through the breakup all right and to ease her pain. He always previously stated that he maintains close friendships with all his exes and treats them to dinners once in a while, and that all his exes wanted to get back together with him. Some extra tidbits about Snake. Snake has made inappropriate sexual advances on the wife of one of True Bro's best friends when he was still with Sophia. Sophia and the wife are best friends, so he was blatantly making a move on the wife while Sophia was in the house. This transgression was swept under the rug as a one-time isolated incident. He has also had a history of making moves on other married women. He keeps nude pictures of his exes, particularly of ex-girlfriend A, on a password-encrypted hard drive that he views every so often. I asked him why he still views them. Was she still the one that got away? His response, "No, nothing of that sort. A is the same age as us. I don't want a 30s woman. She's old and washed up now." He goes on to say that he's merely admiring the pinnacle of the female physique in her 18-year-old prime, and when they first got together in college, he said she was his greatest conquest, and he's never going to be able to tap that butt of another 18-year-old. So he enjoys this body of art. Snake pays for prostitutes everywhere. He has tried to get me to lose my virginity on my 30th birthday to one, but I turned him down after he brought me to the brothel. Conclusion: ex-girlfriend and Snake are both lost causes and deserve each other. May they enter a relationship of mutual assured destruction. After that incident, the rest are pretty mundane. Apparently, Samantha's birthday is also in April, with my ex-girlfriend. He called Samantha up and left a voicemail wishing her a happy birthday. Meanwhile, ex-girlfriend called Samantha up as well to continue telling her to get a hold of me to clear up some unfinished business. I find the fact that both of them are reaching out to Samantha as hilarious and insane. Fast forward to today. I'm at a point of pretty much indifference now. If they break up, that's cool. If they don't, that's also great. At least they won't drag down any new victims. They're both pathetic, and what everyone has told me from a year ago all came true. Time is the healer of all wounds, and I simply stopped caring about them, and I'm much happier for it. I can't promise if I run into Snake on the streets that I won't buckle under the emotions and go F him up, but luckily I haven't seen him since. Otherwise, life's been good, and for being a 31-year-old virgin to having the ultimate crash course in heartbreak, betrayal, cheating, and everything under the hood in 2.5 years dealing with sociopaths and narcissists, I couldn't have asked for a better lesson, as it left me with nothing but positives. I've never gotten married, no kids, no STDs, still able-bodied, didn't lose money, exposed a 20-plus-year-old backstabbing Snake that was hiding a dagger behind his back the entire time. I dived into books about human psychology, relationships, self-help, self-improvement topics, and watched countless videos and podcasts on all these subjects. It's opened my eyes, and I am that much wiser for it. Edit, another dark story that I've forgotten about and decided to just tack on here since it's pretty niche. If anyone has played Animal Crossing: New Horizons, it's basically a video game on the Nintendo Switch where you own a small island that you can design the landscape of your liking, and other people can visit it and run around and do activities together. Long story short, ex-girlfriend lived with me during the pandemic of March 2020. So when the game came out, us both were playing that as well as Snake. We would always laugh and poke fun at Snake for him making a female avatar with long black hair. For as much as he plays, he's surprisingly ignorant on the game mechanics when we play together. However, he still managed to make an island into a 5-star rated resort. It's an in-game rating system, highest level. Come to find out, it's because it was his ex-girlfriend, Samantha, who was playing the game the entire time. Anytime we would ask him to co-op, whether to visit his island or ask him to visit us, he would then grab the Switch from Samantha and then play with us. I just found this revelation extremely unsettling and as a chilling example of just how cold and calculated this monster is. Reaction from Sad Observer 67. Well, that's 2 bits of trash you will not have to worry about in the future for sure. Whoa, what a plot twist, OP. His behavior definitely makes sense now. He was so unhappy with his life that he had to create this false reality built among lies. It's crazy that he was able to hide it for so long, given the fact that he was so jealous of you and had to try to outshine you. He sounds like he has a lot that he has to deal with and face with himself. Foundations built on lies never last. Eventually, things will seriously crash and burn for him. The thread is unraveling already. It makes you wonder how people can live with themselves. At the same time, his parents really have held his hand through life and enabled his spoiled behavior. Because of this, you're right. At the end of this story, you may feel as though you are standing in the eye of a storm, where everything around you is shattered, leaving only the silence of pain. But just like after every storm, the sun will rise again, lighting up the path ahead. Every life has its challenges, moments when we feel we are struck down by the very people we trust the most. But no pain is forever, no sorrow cannot be overcome. We learn that even after falling, we must rise. Even after loss, we must continue moving forward. Remember, every experience, no matter how painful, is a lesson, an opportunity to grow and become stronger. And just like the trees after a storm, though battered by the wind, they rise up even stronger than before. You too will find strength. Don't let the struggles or the pain hold you back. Don't forget that every new day is an opportunity for rebirth. If this story resonated with you, don't hesitate to click that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Stay tuned for more inspiring stories, lessons, and valuable insights on life. Remember, the challenges in life are only temporary, and you can overcome them. Subscribe today and continue your journey with us.